What's going on, everyone? Link64 here. So, Sonic. Sonic has been a very, let's say, mixed series in the past 20 years. The original 2D platformers were a phenomenal starting point for the series, but since then, most Sonic games that have come out have either been really bad, or just meh, with a few exceptions in between. So when Sega revealed the trailer for Sonic Mania, pretty much everyone was excited that they were going back to their roots and recreating a game in the original 16-bit art style. Needless to say, there was a lot of expectations for this game. My personal experience with the Sonic games is kind of limited. I remember playing the original on my dad's Sega Genesis when I was about 5, but let's be honest, all I remember of that game is that horrifying drowning music that still haunts my nightmares. Besides that, I finished Sonic Unleashed when I was about 10, but, well, that's pretty much it. Despite not being too much of a Sonic fan, I decided to pick up Sonic Mania a couple days after the release date, mostly because of the really low price tag. But after playing the game for about a week or so, I'm really glad I did. So without further ado, let's talk about the game!
Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast!
While this may not be a surprise to anyone who follows Sonic more than I do, this stupid, albeit catchy Sonic X theme song is accurate. You go
fast.
I know, shocker, right? But I was actually taken aback at how much time you spend mindlessly zip-zooming around the course. It can actually be really exhilarating. Every time that you bounce into a red spring and go soaring on a 30-second long track of loop-de-loops, spirals, and ceiling runs, you feel so freaking awesome! And I was also surprised at how much you feel in control over those high-octane speed moments. I mean, for the most part, you're just controlling whether Sonic goes left or right during these parts, but you'd be surprised how quick you have to be when changing his direction in order to keep the momentum going. However, there are also moments that are like a traditional platformer, where you're simply running and jumping on platforms just like any old Mario game. And switching back and forth between these two kinds of sections is what separates Sonic from any other kind of platformer. It's the rush and thrill of running at the speed of sound, followed immediately by the slowness and carefulness of timing your jumps perfectly, and then going right back to the speed of sound again. The level design in this game is master class, period. The way that each level ebbs and flows the different tracks smoothly from one area to another, it never feels like you're just going from point A to point B. It just feels like you're everywhere, all at once. You will almost never find yourself going in a straight line, and this organized chaos adds an entirely new layer of fun to the game. Part of this chaos is made up by the fact that there is a new gimmick to enjoy in each level. Whether you're being transmitted through satellites in Studiopolis Zone, sliding over enemies in a block of ice in Press Garden Zone, or warping through pipes in Flying Battery Zone, there's always some new mechanic that you didn't expect to find in each level. Now, I do want to point out that some of these so-called gimmicks are not that great. Hydro City Zone, which requires you to go underwater and hop inside very slow-moving bubbles in order to move around, was not one I particularly enjoyed. Mirage Saloon Zone makes you stand on top of an airplane that flies around as you move, and I didn't really like that one either. Sonic Mania has a difficulty curve. Or, at least it did for me. But I suck at video games. And I haven't played Sonic since I was 5. Sonic Mania has a difficulty curve, if you've never played a 2D Sonic before. There are a few different moves that you have to learn to master, as well as getting down in which direction to hold when you're going on the really fast parts of the courses. For example, it took me a little while to figure out that you have to hold down on the direction opposite you're going when you're traveling on the ceiling, because that makes sense. The learning curve is by no means a bad thing. From the time I got Mania about a week ago, I've learned the different moves available to Sonic, how to use them, and how to master them. I've also gotten the hang of moving around at high speeds, and finally figured out that you don't have to jump on top of enemies to take them out. That was a mind-blowing moment right there. I will say that I really wish there was more details on the various moves Sonic and his buddies can use in the actual game. There's one move you can do with Sonic where you can charge up a dash roll while you're in midair, but I found that one out online. If I had never seen the article that told me that, I would have missed out on one of the most important and helpful moves in the game. So I wish those details were there from the start. The next thing I'm talking about is minigames. Within each zone, there is multiple bonus and special stages, and yes, there is a difference. Let me go over bonus stages first. The bonus stages are little areas that you can access by touching the little glowy spots that appear over some of the checkpoints. I like to think of these stages as what it's like to have OCD, but in a video game. Basically what you're trying to do in this game is get every single blue sphere and every single ring on a grid pattern 3D sphere. You run around on the sphere, only turning at the cross sections on the aforementioned grid. If you touch a blue sphere, it turns into a red sphere. And if you touch a red sphere, well, you're done, son! Also, touching all the blue spheres on the perimeter of a 4x4 or 3x3 square of blue spheres will turn all of those spheres into rings. I'm making it sound way more complicated than it is, but it's actually a lot of fun. There's something satisfying about running around, obsessively collecting every single thing in your path, and I never miss the opportunity to play this minigame every time it appears in a level. Meanwhile, special stages, while they also happen on a 3D plane, are very different from bonus stages. You run in a more free-roaming manner, chasing after the end goal, which is a moving UFO. While you're hunting this UFO down, you need to collect blue spheres, which boost your speed, and rings, which act as fuel. All the meanwhile dodging holes and spikes. While not as fun as bonus stages in my opinion, it still makes for a fun time, and it is the only way to get the Chaos Emeralds in the game and play as Super Sonic, which I have sadly not done as of this recording. The multiplayer that Sonic Mania has to offer is, well, decent. You can have a friend play as Tails while you play as Sonic in the standard adventure mode, but it never really feels fair for player 2, because, well, they don't take damage, the camera never really stays on them, and really they just feel like a lame sidekick as opposed to a full-fledged second player. Mania also has a 2-player competitive mode, and while this works better than the co-op mode, I still think it has some flaws. The view for each player is in horizontal split screen, but instead of it just being cropped down to half the size, the image itself seems really smushed or crunched, and doesn't have the same beauty as just playing by yourself. Besides that, the two people playing don't really have any effect on one another. If you dash roll into your buddy, you're just gonna roll right on by him. It's fun enough, but it shouldn't be the reason that you're getting this game. I think a good note to end on for Mania is this. The game looks absolutely gorgeous. I remember whenever I booted the game up just a couple days ago, and I immediately had a flashback to Super Mario Maker of all things. If you remember Mario Maker way back in 2015, that game took the Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, and Super Mario World art styles and updated them with brighter, more colorful HD visuals. My jaw dropped the first time I played that game. It was the same way with Sonic Mania. When I started that game after downloading it and saw this start screen, I was in awe. And when I started Green Hill Zone, my awe continued. That is, until I died like 12 times in a row and rethought all my life decisions. Point is, you're going to have a lot of jaw drops when you're playing this game. Initially, I didn't really plan on picking Sonic Mania as a game to put in my collection, but I'm glad I did. This is the best way that Sega could have gone back and, well, appease both older and newer fans alike. And you know what else is awesome? It's only $20! I mean, for a game of this quality, they could have easily charged $30, $40, even $50. But it's $20! That's like the price of a movie, or an amiibo, or a really overpriced fidget spinner. So whether you have a Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, you have no excuse. You need to have this game. And with that, I close. Well, what do you guys think? Did you pick up Sonic Mania recently? And if you haven't, why not? It's available on every platform, and it's only $20. It is phenomenal. Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. If you're new to the channel, I am Lincoln264. I talk about everything Nintendo, Nintendo Switch, Sonic Mania, all that good stuff. And if you're interested, you could subscribe to my channel up here. And check out my latest video up here. While you're here, guys, if you wouldn't mind liking, commenting, sharing, all that good stuff, it really helps grow the channel. And really helps me make more awesome content, or hopefully awesome, that I can, give you guys. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one.